Thank you, Comrade Ace, for your wonderful umkhabulo. Dumelang, kgotsong, my comrades. Ke batla Comrade Program Director, Comrade William, Secretary of Province. Ke batla go simolla ka go ipolela. I want to confess. Ga ke a robala maobane bosiu. E sale Comrade Secretary a mfounela. Ampulela gore ka gore ke kwaletse lekwalo go Secretary General wa rona Gwede Mantashe gore ga ke kgone go a KwaZulu Natal ka gore ke a Freistata gatwe ke nne sebui mo Provincial General Council ka tsoga. Ka nna bosigo botlhe ke kwala pampiring yana ya me ke a ipolela gore ga ke a robala. Comrade Ace, ke itumetse thata ka puo ya gago. O re file tsela tshwewentle e tshwanetseng go latelwa ke mongwe le mongwe o e leng leloko la African National Congress. Ra di tlhoka puo tse dintseng yana ka gore bontsi ba rona ga re kgone ga re tlhaloganye gore mokgatlho o ke mokgatlho o ntseng yang. Santse re ithuta. Go tshwanetse ge gore ga re kopana le mekgatlho ya rona re le baetapele. Re ska tshaba go bua ka mokgatlho. Re ska tshaba go leka gore bašwa ba rona ba nne le tlhaloganyo e ntle ya gore mokgatlho o ke mokgatlho o ntseng yang. Gore ga o na le maemo mo mokgatlhong o e tshwara yang. Seo tshwanetse gore re bue ka sone. Re utlwa ba bangwe tsatsi jeno ga ba bua le rona ba re tsogetse. Ba re ga ra tshwanela go nna mo dipolotiking ka gore re tsogetse. Re ba bolela gore re tsogetse, re tsene re tsogetse ka gore ne re lwela bona gore ba ska tshwana le rona ba vouta ba le 40. Ba ska se lebala seo. Comrades, I want to thank the Secretary General, as well as Chairperson and the PEC for this opportunity to share some thoughts with you about our preparations as the movement toward the ANC National Policy Conference, which is to be held from the 30th of June to the 5th of July at Nasrec in Johannesburg. We, as the leadership, find this time and era an exciting and challenging one, as it is the best opportunity for the African National Congress to embark on a process of renewal and strengthening. It is a great opportunity for us to seriously engage in discussions that will, over and above breathing a new life into our movement, assist us to increase the pace of transformation by clearly defining the simplest and most practical steps that must be taken to ensure that the African National Congress retains its revolutionary fervor and commitment in order that it remains the best servant of our people and leader of the revolution in South Africa. Our branches, our regions, and our provincial structures of our beloved movement have demonstrated great interest in discussion of these policy documents. We see evidence of that in reports that we, the leadership of the ANC, receive and reflections on our policy documents in the media. This is indeed very encouraging, as the collective effort, enthusiasm, and energy is all that we need to have a policy conference that will deliver solutions and contribute to what we hope to be a watershed conference in December of this year. It would appear from our observations as the NEC that preparations are indeed proceeding well. I assume, comrades, that most of you do pay attention to matters in the media, that you read assiduously, not just ANC documents, but newspapers, magazines, and journals. and that you are thus very au fait and familiar with developments in the country and concerns of our people, especially concerns around the current economic and political discourse pertaining to happenings in our country. So I do not need to repeat chapter and verse to you, because you know in the culture of the African National Congress, we read, we are knowledgeable. This has to be the case with all of us if the ANC is to remain the best organization that is fully alert to and conscious of the concerns and the contentment that must be the pulse of our communities. It must be the case if we are to respond adequately and appropriately to calls by voters to strengthen the ANC in its role of leader of society. You surely have to be sensitive and fully aware of the thoughts and needs of communities where you live and work, so as to always be in the best position to respond appropriately and contribute to a better South Africa, a stronger ANC, and a brighter future for our country. Your role, comrades, as cadres of the ANC, is to do all that is needed to speed up transformation in our country for the better. Most of you who are here today are leaders in your communities. I hope that as you leave this PGC tomorrow, you will leave understanding that among the many tasks that confront you, some of the more important are the following. One, that you must participate in important strategic debates and contribute to thoughts through the framework provided to the nation by the 2017 ANC National Policy Discussion Documents. Two, that you must defend the freedom that we fought so hard to deliver and the revolution through service to our people in the areas where they live. And three, to constantly elevate the trajectory of transformation, democracy, and justice with your thoughts, your innovation, and concrete actions as you shape the future of the ANC and of our country. This has to be done with the full involvement of members in the branches, and where possible, with the further input sought from local communities and stakeholders, such as labor, business, traditional leaders, religious communities, non-governmental organizations, and academics. Because, comrades, the ANC has never only spoken to itself. The ANC speaks to the nation. So before you form an opinion, take our policy documents to the people and come to the policy conference with an understanding of what the meaning you bring means to the communities you have spoken to. An ANC cadre who only speaks to himself is not a cadre who builds our organization. Comrades, let us share ideas about the ANC policy discussion documents, bearing in mind that what we are trying to do is to work out in our minds what we as cadres and activists of the movement understand the ANC to be proposing to do, and also what we can do in every sector to bring about radical socio-economic transformation, a goal that has intrinsic to it the desired outcome of inclusive growth. We do not pronounce on radical socio-economic transformation to have a nice phrase which sounds revolutionary. Its intrinsic core is inclusive growth for all in our country. Let us think of those small but important steps that the ANC should and could take to effect maximum impact on society with a minimum effort. Let us study all the proposals that are in these policy documents and enrich or improve them so as to put the ANC in the best position to implement relevant plans and programs and to serve and deliver efficiently and effectively in the organization and through government. Now, one of my concerns as I speak about efficiency, I've never been to a meeting in Free State which has started late. And I'm hopeful that our lateness today is not a new culture emerging in this wonderful province of ours. So I hope we won't be late again. The main aim of our discussions must not be to propose lots of new policies, but we should rather focus on proposing changes and refinement of policy to improve outcomes where we identify difficulties of service and delivery. Our proposals should also focus on improving the speed of implementation and to raising the trajectory of ANC thoughts and practices. We have always been an organization and movement with the highest levels of intellectual political rigor. We must maintain that character through our deliberations. When Comrade Jeff Radebe, chairperson of the ANC-NEC Policy Subcommittee, and a team of 9 members of the ANC-NEC launched the 2017 ANC National Policy Discussion Documents on behalf of the leadership, the NEC, on the 12th of March 2017, he said the following, and I quote, "The principal objective of the ANC releasing its discussion documents is to enable all members of the ANC at all levels of the organization to review the implementation of policies adopted at the 53rd National Conference, to assess their adequacy and to propose areas for policy review or new policies towards the 54th National Conference to be held in December 2017. Comrade Jeff, speaking on behalf of the ANC-NEC, invited all and sundry, including members and supporters of the ANC, to what he termed a festival of ideas. By that, he encouraged all South Africans to study and respond to issues raised in these papers and to contribute through submissions to the ANC ideas that would strengthen or improve thoughts contained in the framework for discussions toward the said national conference. This invitation for participation is a unique culture and practice seen only in the ANC, as it is a necessary obligation and practice demanded of the ANC as the leader of society and the leader of the revolution in South Africa. I challenge you to look for the concrete policy documents of other loud-speaking parties in our country. You will look very hard. But this organization puts its ideas to the nation and is open to deliberation by the nation. The ANC national policy discussion documents are focused on the following policy areas, all of which are areas of interest for a massive collection of comrades in a PGC such as yourselves. The first two and the last are all encompassing and are a must-read for all of us, irrespective of sectoral interests. The other 6 discussion papers cover each and every area of interest that any one of us has chosen as a way of life. So the first 2, important to all of us, are strategy and tactics of the African National Congress, organizational renewal, and organizational design. So what we are saying is, don't say, because I'm a teacher, I'm going to Education Commission and I'll only read that paper. If you don't have the foundation of strategy and tactics and the political backing of organizational renewal and organizational design, you will not be able to test the intricacies of the sector papers. So it is vital that you use them as your foundation, your lens into the sectoral papers. Absolutely vital. You're aware of communications and the battle of ideas, legislature and governance, economic transformation, education, health, science, and technology, social transformation, peace and stability, and again, a generic policy document, international relations, featuring throughout the sectors we must deliberate upon. So I would advise, as we've done in preparation for this PGC, that you should first focus on the first 2 papers that we have referred to, the strategy and tactics, as well as organizational renewal and design. These will give you a feel of the kind of ANC that we should want, and an ANC that has responded to the call of the voters, and a movement that has sharpened its revolutionary edge. The discussion papers contain recommendations to the ANC Policy Conference of policies and programs that the ANC and the country should consider pursuing in order to achieve radical socio-economic transformation, and thus inclusive growth in the next 5 years. One of the areas that you perhaps might want to deliberate upon, which is not quite adequately covered in the issues that are presented in the papers, is the matter of how do we get the voices of the majority heard in this process. The majority being the poor, the downtrodden, the unemployed, those without skills, those without literacy, who reside in the villages, in the squatter camps, in our townships, in poor white areas in our country. This majority, often untouched by us, makes up the majority of our members and our supporters, and thus we must reach them. To further stimulate debates, the ANC has posed a number of questions. What progress have we made in all sectors, in the communities, in our provinces, since the 2012 53rd ANC National Conference held right here in Mangaung? What is your experience and those of your sector and community? Have you found that ANC policies support efficient and speedy delivery of services? Are there any policy gaps that you have identified and policies that you would propose for adoption by the ANC? What should the ANC government and communities do to improve and strengthen all our sectors to implement policies and programs effectively? as a member of the ANC, are you playing a role in the implementation of programs in various sectors? And we conclude by asking, please propose one action or policy change that the ANC should consider or adopt in each sector to get our country closer to radical socio-economic transformation. And we are saying propose beyond Comrade Zwani's mining charter, more, so that we achieve this ambition of radical socio-economic transformation. Our policy papers are wonderful in that they ensure that there is continuity of political thought, analysis, plans, and programs between discussions of our 4th National Policy Conference that we held in 2012, the 53rd National Conference, and those taking place now towards the 5th National Policy Conference and the 54th National Conference. We as the ANC are not an organization that came about yesterday. We have continuity and change because we have a history of being revolutionary, of having ideas, of having a sense of what we want to do in our country. And it is that continuity that we must look at as we reshape the future. They contain a review of decisions which have been taken since our 53rd National Conference in Mangaung, including all decisions of the National Executive Committee since then, of alliance summits, of resolutions of our leagues, and recommendations of the 2015 National General Council. They are an assessment of implementation of ANC resolutions and discussions, including integration of these into the implementation of the NDP Vision 2030 as our national plan for eradicating poverty, unemployment, and inequality. We've identified policy gaps and tabled proposals to remedy these in each of our areas of work. Your task today and at policy conference is to improve upon these. The report of each sector is structured to communicate action in response to ANC resolutions and manifesto directives, government policy context reviews, as well as review of key decisions that we have made. Please note, comrades, that when we assess progress, we must always start with the assessment of the ANC, its structures, its members, and its supporters before we assess its performance in government. This is because a strong ANC is central to the success of our liberation project in defense of freedom and our revolution. We must always start with ourselves. Where we are strong, our government will be strong. Where the ANC is weak, the government will be weak. I hope that each one of us now understands that we all have a role to play in the defense of our revolution, our freedom, and our future. Don't be one of those who hide in the back room when things are hot. Be there to defend the organization. The organization needs you at all times, and not only when it is nice. There are some people who are very available when things are good, but who disappear when things are bad. We need you all the time. Each one of us, comrades, must endeavor to make a mark wherever we are. That is at home, at work, and in every institution that we lead. I repeat that we must all be very knowledgeable of the politics of the Congress movement, particularly our movement, the African National Congress. As Comrade Ace has pointed out, we must walk the walk and not just talk the talk. We must be all-round political cadres. That is what we need in the ANC. You mustn't say, naki motoko branching. Tse di buang ke Comrade Pandor, ke tsa bo NEC. Nya, ke tsa gago. All of us must be equally knowledgeable about our organization. As I conclude, let me repeat what I said in the beginning, that if only you can leave here today understanding these three tasks. 1, participate in important strategic debates and contribute to thoughts through the framework provided to the nation by the 2017 ANC National Policy Discussion Documents. Defend, too, the freedom we fought so hard to deliver, and the revolution through service, comrades. Defend the revolution through service. Some think defending the revolution means taking up a traditional weapon. No, you defend it through service, wherever you are. Because if you've been asked to serve and you are putting money in your back pocket, you are destroying the revolution. If you've been asked to serve and you are dishonest in your service, you are defeating the revolution. Defend the revolution through service. And number 3, constantly elevate the trajectory of transformation, democracy, and justice with your thoughts, your innovation, and concrete actions as you shape the future of the ANC and our country. Don't believe you cannot make a difference. You can, through your voice, through your action, through your participation. We are fully alert that this council will submit contributions made here today. We encourage you to keep discussing and contributing to the ongoing political discourse. I will be very glad if this gathering of ANC members, leaders, and activists could make you realize that you are an army of Congress movement volunteers who must at all times ensure that the ANC, as the leader of society, remains the most trusted servant of our people in defense of the revolution, our freedom, and our country. We have a range of documents available to us, including, as we discuss radical socioeconomic transformation, the NEC Subcommittee's statement on economic transformation. This is a very useful and long footnote to the policy document on economic transformation, and I urge you to read the statement. I also encourage you to download from the ANC website summaries of all the discussion papers, particularly those in the form of statements, because they provide a very crisp synthesis of the key ideas in each of the papers. This is to assist those who are keen to further benefit from summaries of our policy documents so that they're better informed of the thinking of the movement, your organization, the African National Congress. As we discuss the battle of ideas, I conclude by pleading with you, comrades, to submit your thoughts individually and collectively to the ANC for consideration and adoption via email, Facebook, Twitter. Don't tweet wrong things. Tweet our policies. WhatsApp and our ANC website. The addresses for all of them are available and are listed on our website and on the back page of the 2017 ANC National Policy Conference. As we move to the policy conference and the national conference, let us not let the world think we are not thinking ANC cadres. We have ideas. We have thoughts. Put them on Twitter. Put them on Facebook. Don't post a picture of you in your latest lingerie. No. Put a picture of you debating issues. And put your debates in all your WhatsApp messages. Form discussion groups on WhatsApp and discuss these policy papers instead of some of the very weird things we see you communicating on social media. If we fail to submit our views and thoughts, this may result in your wisdom and revolutionary ideas not being incorporated into the collective intelligence, wisdom, resolutions, programs, and plans of the African National Congress. So as the NEC comrades, we say, let the festival of ideas bloom. We say, you are the ones to make that festival bloom. We say, your contribution will be an immeasurable one to ensuring that indeed our revolution results in a better life for all the people of our country, as we promised in 2012, as we shall do now. Amanda. Amanda. Thank you, comrade.